Hello, good morning, fellow humans. Today is July 30th, 2025. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's Wednesday morning. The sun is coming up later, but it's clear outside. And it's probably, let's see what the temperature is. Just a note for history. There was a tsunami warning in all of Hawaii yesterday, some kind of earthquake in Russia. Rootskis had some kind of earthquake. Let's see. It's 72 degrees right now. 72 degrees right now. Humidity 19%, so it's kind of humid. 19% humidity. Wind is only 3 miles an hour. Air quality is good. All right. Houston, we have liftoff. Good morning. What not a bevy. Good morning. Good morning to you. So, and good morning, Miss Trinkle, wherever you is. Probably asleep right now. All right, so today is the second to last day of July. This is our Wednesday morning breakfast for the people, our orphans and widows, and people who are really starting to have even more of a hard time of it. And it could just be the more we talk about it, the more interested people get. The more interested people get, the more people want to take them out. Take them out at the knees. Okay. So Atticus Boone Atticus is out there. He's online. You can see it. So anything you want to say. Sophie, Matt can hear you. All right, our show today, we have a really big show. The first step. What? Yeah, this is Jordan Peterson thing. The very first step. We're going to talk about that. But let's get some advice from an 80-year-old. Live your life so that your epitaph could read what? Fill in the blank. What could your epitaph read? What not a bevy? Guten Morgen. What could your epitaph read? Guten Morgen? Your epitaph could read Guten Morgen? People don't like gluten. Oh, that's gluten. All right. Okay, what else is on our hit parade? Oh, Dr. Livingood talking about when is the best time to take ACV, apple cider vinegar. You got an answer for that one? What, not a bevy? When is the best time to take apple cider vinegar? Because I know, because I listen to Dr. Livingood. Yeah. Nobody's answering. How about you, Atticus Vun Atticus? Before meals and morning. Okay, right. He says the very best time to take it is in the morning. 1 tablespoon with a glass, 8 ounces of water. So 8-to-1 ratio, not like coffee. Coffee is 16-to-1. 8-to-1 ratio. Apple cider vinegar first thing in the morning activates a hormone, I think it was, AMPK. I don't think that's right, but I think he might have said that. Activates that, so it tells the body to go into fat burning mode. Cool. Before meals and in the morning. Okay, so he said study done on I don't remember how many people showed that you do that and you will lose 6 to 8 pounds by doing nothing else. Interesting. Cool. Okay, mostly. All right, what else we got on our hit parade? That's advice from an 80-year-old epitaph. Oh, live your life so your epitaph could read no regrets. when I was in law school, talked about, entering a world of regrets. You're going to have clients who come to you because they regret what they did and they need you to fix it, and people who come to you because they regret what they didn't do and they want you to fix it for them. Mm-hmm. All right, that's Darren Hardy. Let's look at what does Seth Godin have to say. Mostly unreasonable. Mostly unreasonable. Is it mostly unreasonable or mostly unreasonable? Let's find out. It's tempting to go to an extreme. Unreasonable design standards, quality for hospitality are an effective way to gain share, to delight customers and spread the word. To be unreasonable in service of your customers is a practice and a commitment. Along the way, though, reality sets in. The boss has multiple priorities. The uncompromising edges of unreasonable are truly expensive. They take time and effort and money. They're unreasonable. And so we pull back a bit. We go much of the way, but not quite too ridiculous. The thing is, rational, compromised, unreasoned has a name. The thing is, rational, compromised, unreasoned has a name. It's called normal, compromised, unreasoned. If you want the benefits that come from being unreasonable on behalf of your customers, you're going to have to pay the price as well. Unreasonable works precisely because most people aren't driven to go all the way there. Okay. Could we say Elon Musk is mostly unreasonable? Yes, when he did Starlink, SpaceX, Tesla, the brain net, Neuralink, all of that stuff, robotics. He's doing all of this stuff at the same, and Grok and Twitter, X, all of these things at the same time, creating the American Party. What has gotten into this guy? He's unreasonable. He doesn't get, you don't need to do all that stuff. Right? Okay, so Matt has a small list of regrets. Okay, so how are we doing for time? This is day 3, week 3, Simon Sinek. This is how do we attract people? How do we get a crew on our boat? How do we get people to help us? And this would be something Atticus von Atticus could benefit from, because he's kind of always out there on the edges, dipping in, then leaving, dipping in, leaving, and not pulling anybody into his orbit. So what was the first thing we learned on Monday from David Logan? Join a tribe, nudge it forward. Okay. So Matt, for example, goes to the Cotton Softens Cotton tribe. He's a member of that tribe, Cotton Softens Cotton, attends their things. Does he nudge it forward? No, he's the guy out there on the fringe. I'm not saying lunatic fringe. He's just out there on the fringe, popping in and out, distracting everybody as he's walking around in his own universe, right? He's out there in his own orbit. He's orbiting around himself. Let's say it that way. Okay, cool. So join a tribe, nudge it forward. That's David Logan. Tuesday, day 2. Seth Godin says, well, how do you nudge it forward? Find something to change, find part of the status quo to change, tell a compelling story, connect the true believers, ignore the non-true believers, lead them. Those 4 steps. So find part of the status quo to change. That was yesterday. Find part of the status quo to change. How do you do that? Well, you look around, you ask other people, what kind of sucks around here? What could we be doing better? What are we going to be doing next year that we're not doing now? What are we not going to do next year that we are doing now? Ask questions like that. Think about, ponder, do stuff like that. Then come up with a compelling story. Today, Simon Sinek tells us how to tell a compelling story. And he's going to say, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And he has an example of 3 concentric circles. So the outer circle is what? I think it's what. What are you going to do? Let's see if I have it here. Yeah, the outermost circle is what. What do we do? What are we going to change? The next one is how. How are we going to change it? And then the inside is why. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So the compelling story is about why we need to change the status quo. Why do we need to change the status quo? Not how are we going to change the status quo, not what are we going to change, what are we going to do? What are we going to do different? It's not about that. It's why we need to change it. And if people agree, yeah, we do need to change the status quo, what are they going to do? They're going to say, well, what do you have? What's your idea? And if it's a good idea, what are they going to do? They're going to do it right. So find something to change and then use Seth Godin's formula. Find something to change, tell a compelling story, connect the true believers, ignore the non-true believers. That's what we got to do. That's Simon Sinek today. And in your life now, what do you do in your life? Okay, so let's go back on Atticus von Atticus. He's in his own orbit. He's orbiting around himself. So at some point he's the center, then he steps out and he's or revolving around himself, orbiting around himself. So you got to think of, well, what can I change here? What is it I can change? And then to attract other people, you talk about why we need to change, why I need to change. So, and Atticus von Atticus did that when he decided to stop drinking, right? And what happened? The people at the First Step Club accepted him in because his story was, I'm going to go here. Why am I going to change? Because what? Not a baby is going to kick my booty, whatever. And so you see how it works. Why do we need to change the status quo? Why do we need to change it? And these are kind of the big, lofty thoughts because we're humans. We're not animals and we're not going to be treated like animals. The status quo treats us like subhumans. We need to change the status quo because we aren't subhumans. Now, did I talk about how we're going to change it? Did I talk about what we're going to change? No. It's the why. Why do we need to change? Because we're not animals. So this would be like talking about our orphans and widows, what other people call the homeless. People, we need to change the way we treat homeless people. Why? They want to live that way. No, they really don't. Why do we need to do it? Because people are not animals. Why? Why do we need to change? Because, well, for one thing, our personal salvation depends upon it because Jesus was very clear in Matthew 25. In Matthew 25, 35 through, no, I guess 37 through 39. If you didn't feed me when I was hungry, or give me drink when I was thirsty, or clothe me when I was naked, or help me when I was sick, or welcome me when I was alone, or visit me in prison. If you didn't do that, you get to go to the lake of fire. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for him, Johnny? We have the lake of fire. Right. And you're going to say, but I did all of this other stuff in your name. And he's going to say, I never knew you. You don't get to do what you want to do in my name. You need to do what I ask you to do. If you love me, you will obey my commandments. Right. Okay, so the point though is we gotta, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Why do we need to change the status quo? Why do we need to change the way things are done now? Why do we need to do that? Why do we need to change the status quo? And when it comes to human behavior, a good starting point is always because people are not animals. That's why we need to change the status quo. We are men, we are women, we're people. We're loved by, created by God, whatever you want to say. Why should I hire you? That's a why question. Because I show up on time, I'm a good worker, I'm a team player. No, everybody says that. I don't even hear that. Why should I hire you? Because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else. Okay, now you got my attention. Now you got my attention. That's why we should hire you. Got my attention. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for today. Simon Sinek. You want somebody on your boat, you want somebody to help, you have to give them a reason why they need to change the status quo. You got to get them off their boat into your boat. You got to get Maticus von Atticus, Under Sergeant Ordinaire, out of orbiting himself to orbiting something better. Why? Because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Okay, so with that, people, we're going to call it a day because I've got to get to pick the guys up for our breakfast for those most in need. I ran across some people last night as I was going to Albertsons to get supplies for this morning's breakfast. This is kind of how bad it's gotten. They had their tent in an obscure area behind Walmart. They did their thing during the day. They came back at night. Somebody took a knife to the tent, and now it was no longer a tent. I said, well, what are you sleeping in? Well, we're over behind the stables, behind the park, and we're just sleeping in our clothes. We're just sleeping like this. They probably won't make it to the breakfast because it's a long ways to walk. It's a long ass way to walk for breakfast, but maybe they will. Who knows? We'll see. So, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Compelling story starts with why do we need to change the status quo? That's the question. Why do we need to change the status quo? And when it comes to people, the starting point is because we are not animals. We are not filthy rags. We are not unworthy. We are not scum, etc. Okay, that we're going to say and cut. And cut, people, cut. Bong.